Well, hello everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Couch Podcast with Juliet Style Glam. How are you all doing today? So today's podcast, we're going to be talking about. Today we're going to be talking about men who are time wasters. Okay? Now, what the inspiration for this topic came about, if you are quite aware, you know that you may have heard. Okay, so Chrissy Lampkin, if I'm not wrong, is dating Jim Jones. Now, I remember this couple all the way back from Love and Hip Hop. And again, like I've told you guys, I became fed up with after a while. But we're in 2024, and I remember at the time in that show, there was the story of marriage of Jim Jones getting married to Chrissy Lampkin. Now we're in 2024, and this happened I don't know how many years ago. And fast forward, I just stumbled on a picture of him where he's wearing chains, right? And in the same vein, Chrissy Lampkin celebrated her birthday sometime last week. Okay, so Chrissy Lampkin celebrated her birthday sometime last week. Chrissy Lampkin is 52 years old now. Very beautiful lady, beautiful girl. And she celebrated her birthday sometime last week. And again, she's still with Jim Jones and she's unmarried. Now, you have to understand that, there are men who bring you out to waste your time. And it is imperative as a woman that you get to know this very quickly. I also know, and there are also, and for a man to do that, let me say this. For a man to be able to do that, he understands and knows your weaknesses and your insecurities to a T. You see, in the course of that relationship, it was quite evident that Chrissy wanted both of them to be married. I think at the time Jim Jones gave her a ring, but nothing. I'm not sure. It's been a long time ago. And you see, a lot of us women, we fall into this category. We fall into this category because we have not defined for ourselves what we are looking for in that man. We have not even known who we are, because the first step about knowing in completude what you want starts from knowing who you are. I was listening to another podcast, another video today. I can't remember his name. I'll find it and put it somewhere in my video, his name. And he was saying something about men who are predators, And I've said this before on my previous video. What you give out, men are very, very smart and intelligent beings. Listen, that's not to say that they are smarter than women. But you see, for a man to be able to prey on a woman, let me rephrase that. For an unserious man, for a man who seeks to play with your emotions, for a predator, for someone who is just seeking out to hurt you, the first things that they look out for are your insecurities. And I've said this before. How you respond when they speak to you, the things you say, how you say, your body language. Men hone in on this very, very quickly. A lot of women, we are so sensitive, we are so into ourselves, we are so aware, but unfortunately, when it comes to men, many of us are not that aware. And that is because there is a weakness. There is a part of you that is weak somewhere that you have not been able to fight into power. That is the reason why. And so I'm going to repeat it. I've said it before. I don't know if I think I uploaded that video. I hope I did. When a man walks up to you on the get-go, the way he speaks to you and your response is a clear signal to him if you are the type of person that he can play with or not. Most times we hear people say men are scared of confident women, or men are scared of a high value woman, blah, 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 blah. No, it's not true. No man worth his onions and his salt is afraid of a high value woman. And no woman worth her salt is afraid of a high value man. The people that are afraid of those kind of people are people that have absolutely nothing to offer you and more to take away from you. They only want to pillory and pillage and render you useless. And that is why I'm going to say this, and I'm going to repeat it again. There are women and men, because yes, we have men who get played. There are women and men. Before you go into the next relationship, before you move into the next chapter of a relationship that you are not, you whatever, ensure that you're going in as a wholesome person. Ensure that you are going in as someone who understands who she is. Ensure you're going in as someone who is whole, secure, confident, and happy. I've told you guys this story. When I went through my horrible experience of a relationship, I told myself no more dating. I wasn't dating. I didn't date for more than 3 years. Those 3 years was my period of that was my sabbatical. That was my time of alone. That was knowing me. That was being strong in myself. That was getting my confidence back. That was me in all my entirety, so that I knew, listen, a lot of people think a lot of women think it's rocket science. No, it's not rocket science to play men at their game, but that's not what you're doing. That's not what you want. What you want is a wholesome experience with whoever you're going to be with. But to get a wholesome experience with whoever you're going to be with or you want to be with, it involves a wholesome experience with you. A lot of us are afraid to be alone. A lot of us are afraid to be single. I already stumbled on one lady this morning, and I just gave her some words of encouragement. Was watching a video. I enjoy following the particular handle on Instagram, and I was watching one of the videos where Flavor, the artist, if you're Nigerian, you'll know him. He was singing one of his songs. He was serenading. It was a private function, and she wrote there, very touching, and she said, "Gosh, that watching this made her feel pained about being single." And I spoke to her and I wrote to her, I said, "Honey, there is nothing painful about being single. Have fun with it. Play with it. Be in yourself. Be in your element. Carry yourself. Be happy. Know you. Have fun. Enjoy it. So that the person that is coming to meet you is meeting a happy and self-confident and amazing person." A lot of us walk into relationships with baggages. And when we come into those relationships with that baggage, oh my God, it either destroys you or destroys everything that you're going to build. It's not everyone. It is not every man or woman that is going to want to sit down with you to walk through your baggage with you. Not everyone. A good man or a good woman would, understanding what is at stake. But they are so few and far between. And I say this because Chrissy Lampkin is such a beautiful lady. She is such a beautiful woman that you would wonder, what would she be doing with a character like Jim Jones? I don't want to go far because there are so many things I could spew out. Okay? And so when you look at this area of your life, you decide at that point and say, enough. I'm not going to be anyone's plaything. I'm not going to be used. I'm not going to be abused. Let yourself know that. A lot of us have begun to, in the world we live in today, a lot of us have begun to equate wholeness with being wealthy. No. You could be having all the money around you. You could be the boss babe everywhere, but you're still going through your own personal demons. Those personal demons are those things that you need to work through. I've talked about therapy and how therapy is important. Listen, I think one of the things, as an African and a Nigerian, I think one of the things that we failed in our society was at bringing, therapy, to the fore of our lifestyle. Because in all honesty, therapy should be an ongoing process. It should be an ongoing process. Thankfully, in France, in the wake of COVID-19, initially, because I remember my first therapy I ever did, it was, how many years ago? And I remember I was only offered 10 sessions. And after the 10 sessions, I was to pay for the rest. At the time, it wasn't insurance. The insurance did not cover for it. In the wake of COVID, after the aftermath, the government decided that, because of course we know that there was an increase of domestic violence and so many things and blah, blah, blah. And so the federal government put in place therapy to be, in French they say prise en charge, accordingly. So I actually even met someone who told me about her boyfriend who suffered burnout. And it was so bad because she was now beginning to feel the weight of what he was going through. She was feeling the weight because she felt burdened. This is someone whom she was supposed to be, she's in love with, but he became someone else. He didn't want to do anything. He had no zeal to do anything. He wasn't interested. He always, according to her, she said he always wanted to talk to her, and that sometimes she doesn't even want to listen because she has other things to do. She has to, you see, it's not everyone that is going to be willing to be your ear. It's not everyone that is going to be willing to walk the whole 9 yards with you as someone who's dealing with stuff. And so the importance for you and of you to be able to gain and get yourself your own healing for yourself, it's imperative. And women, we fall more into this category because we are the ones who are raised for men. We are raised to be caretakers. We are raised to be wives. We are raised to be mothers. We are raised to be the cleaner, the this and that and that. And that is changing. But I also feel that in a way, there is still the conflict of that change. That conflict still exists in that change that we are that is happening, that is sweeping around. And there are so many men who are not ready to listen to that, who are just looking for the slave they married rather than the wife and partner or girlfriend or fiance that I have. And so we are in that dynamic. And that is the dynamic now that we are supposed to be trying to find the balance too. Because in all honesty, all of this is about balance. And again, one more thing before I go. When creating balance, ensure, in Chris's case, Jim Jones knows her weakness. And he's using it, and he's using it to his advantage. For whatever reason, Chrissy Lampkin has refused and has told herself that she cannot be with any other person than Jim Jones. And in that regard, he knows he would mess up. He knows he would string her along. He knows he can string her along. He knows that he would do whatever he wants to do, and she'll be right there waiting with her arms open. And this is only and only simply because she's insecure. She's so insecure that she doesn't even understand when it's time to let go. And so many of us are so insecure that we do not even know when it's time to let go. We are afraid of what will happen, when we don't, when we are just, when I'm no longer in this person's life, or when this person is not in my life. I went through it. I passed through it. I know it. Because I kept on asking myself, okay, again, this was someone who had told me everything wrong with myself. And so for me, again, let me repeat what he said, that no man, he told me, he said, no man will ever date you, not to talk of marrying you, if it's not me. He told me that I was so much of everything that was wrong, and so he's bearing it with me because he's the only one who can, that no one would. Listening and hearing to that statement, for me, when I was to put my leg out, it was hard. I've said it before on this channel. It was difficult, and so the only way because I had to fight. I am fighting my own insecurity. I am fighting my own, pain. I'm fighting all of that. And for me, the only way I knew I could do that was, first of all, keeping my distance. When I understood the power of keeping my distance, oh my God, that was when I understood the freedom that comes with being single. Being single is not a chain. It's not an anvil. It is freedom. Enjoy it. Have fun with it, because that is when you know who you are. And that is when you actually know what you are able to bring to the table. On this note, guys, this is where this episode of the Couch Podcast ends with me. Have a wonderful, wonderful day. Until the next episode. Bye.